I use the LMS Blackboard for Showcase 3, and I use it to enhance my lesson on trigonomic functions on graphing them. So I started with the intro. Good evening, class. You all did a very good job. The lesson over the first three, so I've decided to enhance it and teach you the last three, which is cosine, no, it's cosecant, secant, and tangent, and also, or cotangent, and also how the graphs shift. So the learning outcomes were to be able to graph cosine, sine, and tangent graphs that have shifts, then also be able to graph cosecant, secant, and cotangent graphs that shift. And obviously the lesson from last time was to be able to apply the unit circle. So what I had the students do was all the readings, watch all the videos, complete the Kahoot and Quizlet, and they would have to take a photo and show it to me, and then take a quiz on Blackboard. So if you click here, you can pull this up into a menu, and it shows, it will give you the 3 links to the articles I have. So this first one is a Khan Academy Trig Unit Circle Review for students to be able to review the trig tour before, or the unit circle before they move on to sine, cosine, tangent. Then a quick review of the lesson that they did really well on, and then they would have the next lesson of cotangent, secant, and cosecant, and this also goes over tangent graphs. In this article, they would read, and after they would read these articles, they would go to the next page on this LMS, which is how to graph trigonometric functions with phase shifts. It has a sine and cosine, a tangent, and then this also includes a cotangent graph, and then secant and cosecant. And they would watch each 3 videos, and after they watch the videos, they would go to Try It On Your Own, where they have a Kahoot, where they can learn stuff from the Kahoot, like this, and they would do the learn if they chose to do the learn. The Kahoot is optional, or the Quizlet is optional, but the Kahoot is mandatory. So they would click on this link, they would start up their own game, and then they would pull it up on their phone and play it that way. Why? Okay. So then they would go and do their quiz, which I allowed them 4 attempts. The quiz itself is, I believe it's 8 questions. Hold on. I'm pretty sure it's 8 questions, and it's just graphs of like secant, cosine with phase shifts. So this one right here, this is just a normal sine graph because it's going through the axis. It's not up to, yeah, I think it's a normal sine graph. It might be that one, but yes. And then the last question, then they finish the attempt. They get to see what they've answered, what they haven't, and then if they want to review it, they just click on number and go back to it, and then they submit and finish the test. Here is how they can contact me. It has my email and my office hours, which in a school type, like a full high school day, I believe that I would have 30 minutes before school and 30 minutes after school, but I'd stay behind and help students. And then if students aren't comfortable taking the quiz, as some students are not able or get too stressed out or whatever, I have an optional test replacement for them to do, which is a poster board project. They use the knowledge that they have learned from this LMS to create a poster board with all the trigonometric graphs with horizontal shifts, and they will give it to me next time they meet with me in class. So in the more zoomed out, the first page, it has the opening at the top, and then you don't even have to go through individually. You can look at this, oh, I need to know how to do that, or I need to know how to do this one. So you can go through and you can watch each individual video. For me personally, I quite enjoyed, or I found this pretty cool how, so I have this due December 9th because, you know, it's due December 9th. As a teacher, I can easily just go to the grade option, and if someone submitted it, let's say this student submitted it, but they didn't actually do anything, they just submitted it to make it seem like, oh, I saw that they submitted it, so I wouldn't count it late. So I would give them a 0, but let's say this is done correctly, they messed up on one graph, that'd probably be 90, and then save, and then if I go to my grade book, which this way, if I go to my grade book, I can see that David May got a 90% on that homework, and that is his grade in the class. So I liked a lot of things about this, but what I liked is I really liked the formatting. I like being able to have my students have access to all the things on one page instead of having to click through to try to find it, because I feel like this just dumps it down and makes it a lot more simple for the students instead of having to click on this and then be like, oh, where's the next thing? Then click on the next button, or even just go back and see the entire page. I also felt that it was pretty easy to use, like as a teacher. I didn't have a lot of struggle creating the things. I can edit the sections if I feel like I messed up on something. Names are pretty simple. There's a very create learning activity right there that I just click. It gives me all of these options to use if I want to make an assignment or check attendance. It's just a very easy website to use and a pretty easy LMS. One thing I found difficult was when I created the quiz, I found it pretty difficult at first to actually create the problems because it's not on this page. Or it was just very difficult to, create the questions. Like being able to give them limited attempts is pretty easy to access. Review, pretty easy. Layout, pretty easy. Like all the stuff that's listed here, was really easy to access, but just creating the questions in general was pretty hard to do. So that's one thing that I would probably change. So some of the UDL guidelines that Blackboard does is 7.1, which is optimize individual choice and autonomy. It allows them to choose what activities they need and do not need to do. It minimizes threats and distractions as it's all here on this website. They don't have to go through multiple pages to find one article. It's all listed right there. Vary demands and resources to optimize the challenge, which is 8.2. They have the try it on their own, the graph, and also the poster board project if they can't do that. promotes expectations. It allowed me to state what I needed them to do and allows them to know exactly what they have to do and develop the self-assessment and reflection. They'll be able to see what they got on the test. Let's say they got a 6 out of 8, they'll be able to see which problems they got incorrect, and then they'll be able to retake it and try to get those problems correct. Some of that is, I have this in this area. Solid. Sorry about that. So some of the ISTE standards for students that are met is the empowered learner, as it allows them to choose options that they need, computation, com, computational thinker, as it's through a computer program that they have to log into, and also they have to do stuff online for it, and innovative designer, as it allows them to choose how they want to see it. They can see it closer up, or they can see it further out and like have a broad overview. The ISTE standards for the educators is the learner, as it allows me to learn what students need and what they need to do. Leader, I'm in charge of this entire website and I can choose when stuff is due, what their grades are. Designer, it allowed easy access to different designs. I can change the cover if I wanted to, like an A+, but for best quality, I just chose a random image. So, but it allows easy stuff. Facilitator, it allows the students to do the work on their own and just show it to me later. Analysis, obviously, the quiz itself allows me to see exactly what all the students did and their understanding. Alright, so overall, I would love to use Blackboard in my classroom in the future. I believe that it can be a really useful LMS tool for my students, and it's pretty easy to access and can be used anywhere with an internet connection, and there is a mobile app for it, so it's very easily accessible. My one thing was with this is I have a free trial, so it'll expire, and if the school that I'm working at has Blackboard, that would be amazing because I feel pretty comfortable using it now, and I think it's a great tool for students, but it would cost money for the school to use it. And that's my one thing that I'm not sure if it should be done. So yeah, this is my Blackboard page. And yeah, so the way that you'd have access to this, is I would go here and I go to users and I go to enrolled users, and I already enrolled David into this, but what you would do is you'd have to enroll users and then search an email. So, or I got search an email and all these students, and I'd just be able to add them by their email, which is a pretty easy way to enroll students, and depending on the class size, it's pretty fast. Yeah, that is my Blackboard page.